single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
So those are our solar panels. 330 watt monocrystalline and a 300 watt poly. They get mounted onto that roof. So right now we take just these panels off to get the bracket right there above it. So the screws are all covered up. You can't see them later. Perfect. It's quite a pain to get these channels back into place, into these grooves. It's pretty almost impossible, but this little stretch took me about 30 minutes, so we will get there. So this will be our setup. 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then goes one here. So how I'm going to do it is, you have these two boxes. Right now that is removable. Battery sits in here, both sides, and then there's a lid, goes over, comes down. You have an opening later, run the wire out or run it up to the top, and then I can connect them. At the moment I'm still using the lead acid battery, just because I'm waiting for the BMS. So we have our EP Ever MPPT charge controller. It's a 40 amp for now. We have 900 watt panels, so a 24 volt battery system should give you somewhere around 1080 watts. We have a 1500 watts pure sine wave inverter, 24 volt, and one thing I would recommend is these. So you get these fuse blocks where you can, it's too tight right now, you can take them off, just put one of these battery connectors on, and then you can run whatever you want to. This is just a 12 volt battery right now. That's a, what's it called, 23680 or so. I forgot the numbers for them, but it's a LiPo as well. And right now it just runs as a backup battery. Why, I will explain that later. And then the listed asset for now feed just so the solar can feed somewhere, and then feed the wiring in the trailer. I have a kill switch that sits between the solar panels before it goes into the charge controller. You have an on-off button. Right there. And all it does, it disconnects the ground from the solar panel. I have the same thing up on the roof in a little box, so I can disconnect on the top, I can disconnect down here. The solar comes in, plus minus, battery goes right now to here to the listed add, and then the load is a small one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a ground screw, just like for smaller devices like the monitor. Then for the Wi-Fi module and for the BMS. So I can just connect all to the ground over here. And that's pretty much it. So what I have bought for my battery setup in my trailer to charge my Tesla Model X is Headway's 38120 cells. They have 8 amps capacity and 200 amps discharge rate and 80 amp charge rate. 80 amps. So what I did build it, I built 2 separate 12 volt batteries. I'm going to combine them to 24 volt, so then I have, first of all, I can use less thick cables, and just to have and my inverter actually is a 24 volt inverter. That's why. That's my old battery layout. I'm not going to use this because I don't like this flimsiness. I don't like these spaces, the corners. So this is what I came up with today. I just took all the edges off, made them kind of 45. Widened the space, so as you can see the space here is very narrow and it can be pushed together close. And here there is no more movement. I put cardboard in just as an extra insulator. And if you can see, I put them in a group of 5. There's one more room for 6 in the end. Like, let's see, this one is going to sit right here. But I have to wait for more cells because we had 2 cells that were damaged. They had no capacity. They felt like I charged them up once and they fell down to 0.75 volt and started leaking. So I had to talk to them. But to be honest, they were pretty good right away. They just told me they're going to send me actually 5 new ones for the 2 broken ones, just for the convenience. So I'm not sure what to do. Not sure what I'm going to do with all the extra ones I have, but something will come up. If you parallel 5 and then you put them in series, it means I get 3.2 volt here, then it goes down here, comes back up, goes up here, then I should have here 6.4 volt, and then later on I got here, I should have 9.6 volt, and then up here I get 12.8 volts. If you don't know, if you're not familiar, you take your battery, you have the negative, positive, you have another negative and another positive. You combine them like this, and then you get a series. You can, if you put them like this, you put them parallel, and then you just let's say it this way. Put a connector here, put a connector here, then you combine them so the voltage stays the same. But for example, in this case right now, you would have 3.2 volt by 16 amps, or if you do this, simply said, you get 6.4 volt by 8 amps. So this is now the finished product with a box. I'm going to make a lid. It's a 12 volt 100 amp BMS, positive, negative. So it goes from negative side to positive from the other battery, and then you can actually use 2 12 volt BMS that way, because to find a 24 volt BMS with more than 200 amp or with 200 amp is quite was quite difficult to find, or they were very, very, very expensive, much more expensive than just 2 single 100 amp 12 volt BMSs. One thing to say, when you wire up your BMS with all the leads, you have to make sure you don't mess them up, because otherwise the BMS won't work. So first one goes, the black one goes to negative, first side, second one goes on the bottom, third one, then there is one more down here, and then the fourth one is over here. So how it works is, if the negative is up here, positive is in the bottom, so you go there, then it comes up here, and then the next positive on the bottom on this side, and then up here is again a positive. So you have to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4 is not mixed up. If you, let's say, mix 5 and 4, the BMS will not give you the correct voltage on this lead, and it will not turn off. So yeah, keep that in mind. And yeah, what I did is just a very simple wooden box, so nothing can move in here. Battery sits quite tight in it actually. The wires are just run on the side here from the bottom with I have them like in hot glue, so embedded in hot glue, and so they can't move. And when I take them out, then unfortunately I have to cut them, or I have to take the wall out. It's just 3/8 plywood or 1/4 plywood, very thin, but it doesn't have to be 1/2 inch. For in my case, not, because I'm putting it in the trailer and it's going wood framing around it that actually holds everything nice and tight in place later on. And the next step is just putting a lid on, and that's pretty much it. So I will it goes from negative to B negative to P negative over to positive on the second battery, and then from this negative pole to the B minus, and then comes out of P minus. So then the circle would be complete. You have your negative pole and your positive pole. Actually, this is the way they are going to be installed later on. This is facing the back wall, so there will be a wall here. This is the front, so the lid will come on. I have my positive pole sticking up, and then my negative will be this one.